There you go, everyone's coming in now. I just forgot that you can't see them still. I need to work out that setting.
I can't see anybody, I just see you.
That's very unfortunate, isn't it?
Can you see people then?
Yeah, I can't see their faces. I can see everyone logging in though. So,
oh, right, yeah.
Guys, we'll give it a couple of minutes for everyone just to log in.
Yeah, no one can see me at the minute, can they all hear me?
Yeah, I can see and hear you. They can all see and hear you. They can't see your screen. Oh. Hello, Bill. John. Jonah. Ricky. Some of the guys that are currently with us. Right.
Have you re-enabled my share screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple more minutes and we'll get going, mate. Don't want to be much gone past that. Guys, just a bit of housekeeping before we start. If you've got questions, Q&A, it allows you to be anonymous if you want to be. So obviously it's completely down to you. So feel free to pop in any. I can't see anyone, so if you have questions, you will have to just pop them through or pop your hand up and then you can ping through a question. We'll try and take intermittent breaks, but try and hold most of the questions towards the end if possible. Right. I think we're almost there, mate. Anyone else? I'll stop the dramatic music for the background.
Okay.
Well, thank you for everyone for taking some time out their evening to learn a bit. Thank you for Jim as well. Massive thank you for Jim for sharing some of his 35 years.
Too long.
Too long.
I started when I was 3.
Cool. When you're ready, Jim, then might as well crack on. I think there's still some stragglers, but it'd be fine.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, so I shall share my screen and you can, as always, James, just confirm that you can see and hear me. That'll be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, you're all good.
All good. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for giving up your time. This 7 o'clock on this Tuesday, the 8th of August. Thankfully, we've had some a bit of sunshine today. Hopefully, you have where you are too. I plan to take up about an hour of your time and to give you an idea of what it's all about today. It's a principle that if you can turn a no into a yes, it can actually change your life, your business, and your happiness. And maybe it's just time for you to start saying yes. And that's what this hour with me hopefully will help you unlock the power. Our running order this evening is, first of all, I've got a short presentation about turning your no's into a yes from a personal perspective, dealing with your own personal mindset and the part of your journey that maybe there's a lot of obstacles in your way about where you want to choose your career, your life, your plan, whether it be health, wealth, happiness, business goals, anything at all. And it's about turning those no's into a yes. And there's a 3-step process I want to share with you for that. During that, I'm going to share with you an interview from one of our property experts who has recently joined us. And he talks about his journey. The first part is going to be how he turned his no into a yes. And the second part is about how he then engaged with us, the property experts, to create what he needed for his business. And the third, right at the end, will be the results and what's happened as a result of him turning his no into a yes. Also plan to deliver you a free 20-minute session to help mastering today's property market of turning clients' no's into a yes. And this is something that regularly at the Property Experts we share weekly training and insights, as well as support and coaching from mentors, right through from Sean, right through from myself, Kelly, Brendan, and all our other success coaches. And at the end, we'll try and allow some time for some questions and answers. So thrilled to share with you the transformative journey of turning our no mindset into a resounding yes mindset. It's powered by effective planning, meticulous preparation, and exceptional performance. And life is full of opportunities. By adopting this positive approach, we can unlock our true potential and achieve greatness. So let's embark on this inspirational journey ourselves. First thing first is about recognizing the no mindset and becoming consciously aware of the mindset that exists in our subconscious, bringing it to the conscious, which is a no. And it's often because we face challenges and decisions and uncertainties, and they breed a no mindset. It limits our growth and holds us back from exploring new horizons. So it's crucial, firstly, to identify these limitations and understand that we have the power to break free from them. And breaking free is simply turning some of our no's into a yes. And the no's generally come from uncertainties and experiences that we've had, turning our no's into a yes. And then it's about embracing the courage to challenge our doubts and our fears. And this is the first step towards transformation. So, of a 3-step process to change your mindset, the first is recognizing the no mindset and why that exists. It's then about looking at changing it into a yes. And this, I've been a student of Simon Sinek, and I would strongly advise and recommend, part of our core values at the Property Experts is we learn. And a big learning that I would advise is to read this book. Yeah, Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And the 3-phase process is really based on that book. So it starts with your why, then your how, and finally your what. And a lot of people's mindsets are fixed around no because they start with the what. They look at what ifs. What can I do to make my life better? What can I do to improve things? What can I do to change my situations? And they're usually faced with your brain telling you all the reasons why you can't do that. So recognizing you might have a no mindset is really important. And then the process starts. And it starts about finding your why. And Simon Sinek's Start With Why emphasizes the importance of starting with a clear sense of purpose, or your why. And in a moment, we're going to listen to Alex's journey, and he explains what his why was. There's no doubt that a shift from a no mindset to a yes mindset occurs when people understand and align with the deeper purpose. When you find your why, your no mindset starts to change towards a yes mindset. And the why is usually a deeper purpose than having a job, earning more money, being healthier. It's the reason that sits behind that. I want to provide for my family. I want to give myself a work-life balance that benefits me, benefits my health, benefits my family. Those are your whys. It might be a why that's around material gains, a bigger house, a car, a holiday, a style of living, the ability to pass on to generations of children. But there's no doubt that your no mindset to a yes mindset shifts when you have a deeper purpose. And therefore, it makes you more receptive to new ideas and willing to embrace change. So first things first, discover what your deeper purpose is and your why. We're now going to watch Alex, who joined us recently, explain his journey of how he overcame those no's and changed his mindset into a yes. James, if you can play that video for us.
Oh, of course we can. Right, so you'll have to let me know if you can hear this.
Alex, welcome back, part two. So,
I can-
turned I know into a yes, and all the things that we've overcome. You've now got to make that ultimate decision of what you are going to do to fulfill your self-employed dream. And if you're going to join a network, do it yourself.
I think, James, that's video number
Really
2.
interested to know
Oh,
how that
You need
apologies.
to go back to video number part 1.
Jumping the gun. There we go.
There we
Hiya.
go.
Right. Welcome, everybody. It gives me the great pleasure to have a conversation this morning with Alex Broadley, one of our most successful new start property experts that we've ever had join us. So, Alex, thanks very much for joining us this morning. I wanted you to share with us the first part of your journey, which was very much about the 6 months prior to actually making the leap and joining, that we were engaged in lots of conversations. You were engaged in conversations with Sean, and lots of things were going through your mind at that time, which I'm sure, you know, a lot of those things will be going through other people's minds. So can you just talk to us about your journey, where you were, and all around that decision to turn your no into a yes to become self-employed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it was something I've always wanted to do. It was, I mean, mine starts way before the 6 months. I'm going back to when I was about 17 years old. I've been in the industry about 20 years. 17 years old, knew I absolutely loved the industry, loved what I did, and stole a copy of the T's and C's, thinking any moment now I'm going to set up on my own. Well, fast forward 20 years and I hadn't done it. So I've got quite a few friends that are self-employed in mortgages, recruitment, and various other things. And they always say surround yourself with the right people. And I guess just from conversations, coaching, and arguably bullying on their part, it really did make me think about it a lot harder. So I put the wheels in motion. So going back, to the last 6 months, put the wheels in motion. Had a look at the various different options, what I could do, looking at the traditional model, the costs associated with it, bank loans and investment, and so on and so forth, and looked at the self-employed model. And I looked at a few. So there's a few of the big names such as VXP and so on and so forth. But just from my initial contact with the property experts, it just seemed a lot more interested and a lot more that's what I'm looking for. Just a lot more keen to progress their experts, really. Nothing was ever rushed. The time was taken. It wasn't a case of if you've had one conversation you can't have another. Even to a point where I was having multiple conversations, and I never actually felt that I was wasting anyone's time, and I don't think they felt that either. Whether Sean, Jim, or anyone else that I reached out to, the property experts, from the very beginning, it just seemed to marry up. But yeah, so more recently, I was working for an independent firm in Leicestershire, quite a successful independent firm. I got a great deal of flexibility. I earned well. I had a car. And they gave me the ability to steer that company in the direction that I wanted to steer it in. So for all intents and purposes, it was a great place to work for. I sailed my own canoe. I did what I wanted to do and dealt with the properties that I wanted to deal with, the clients that I wanted to work with, which made it very, very difficult. But the biggest thing for me is I've got quite a bit of I want more. Okay, and it's not a case of just, you know, enough's not enough, and it's not that I'm satisfied. But I wanted more, and the main thing for me, which was the kind of I suppose the straw that broke the camel's back, was we want to move house, we want a bigger property, we want to start having a family, and all the houses we were looking at, and you know, we're quite modest. We don't want pools, tennis courts, and all that. I mean, great if it comes our way, but it's not on our radar. We want the family home in the right village, and the prices were here, and our joint salaries always got us to here. So it was either a case of I just or we as a marriage. Hi, Margot. We as a couple either decided to just say, okay, well that's our lot, and make peace with it, and live a nice, comfortable life, but not get to the heights and the levels we want to, or I actually go out and do something about it. And that was for me the driving force. You know, wanting more. Like I said, I had flexibility in the first place. I had the ability to steer the business I was working for in the direction that I wanted to steer it in. So it was never that. It was more, yes, working for myself, and I suppose until you work for yourself, you never realise how it's going to work out, whether you're actually going to enjoy it or not. So it was never a case of I knew that working for myself I was going to really enjoy it. Turns out I do. It's really liberating. But it was more the financial aspects and you know, I wanted more, basically.
Wonderful. I think that's you've said everything that I knew that you'd got in your heart. Is you need that driving force. You need that situation where you either make a decision in your life, you at a crossroads, and something that is fulfilling in your life, starting a family, getting that home, that becomes more of a driving force than taking the easy route and staying where you are. And that's massive, isn't it? That decision, when you come to that decision, that's really, really big.
Yeah, and it was for me though, the run up to it was awful in a sense, not from the advice and the support I was getting, just from this battle that I was going through. I found it so difficult to make that leap, you know, and I'd find any excuse under the sun to talk myself out of it. And you know what? Once I found an excuse to talk myself out of it, I felt relieved. I felt like there was a weight off my shoulders, but the itch wouldn't go. You know, I'd scratch that itch, and it might go for a couple of months, or a couple of weeks, but it would keep returning. And I just thought, well, I'm just going to end up resenting what I do, the people who work for, and probably, you know, the decisions I've made. And you know, like I said, we are hoping to start a family, and we've got a nice house. We don't need to move. We can bring up kids happily here. But I know at the moment I did have kids, or we had kids, then it would be even harder. So yeah, I had to do it.
So quickly, what were some of the things that were the big sort of 3 or 4 things that were really constantly turning your yes into a no?
The fact that I can do what I wanted. I was comfortable, and I can go out for meals. I can go out and have a drink, and I go out and buy clothes. We can go out on holiday, by and large, without having to save for it. So I was in quite a nice position. Do you know what the biggest thing for me was? I've always had company cars, so I've never had to pay for a car. So this sign written Nissan that I was given was on such a pedestal. It was on such a pedestal, you know, that, you know, I've automatically got to find now potentially the best part of another £1,000 a month to get myself about, really. So that was one. So that's the second, and really this Mr. Safety Net, not knowing where the next couple of quid was going to come from. But on that, I mean, a good friend of mine has always said that if you're employed as an estate agent, and if you don't sell houses, or you don't list houses, how long is it before the company you work for decide to get rid of you? So if you're going to have to sell to keep your job, you may as well sell to have the majority of the commission, which is a fair point.
That's great advice. Thanks, Alex. And we'll do part 2 coming up soon.
Props.
Okay, can I carry on sharing now then, James? Yeah.
Well done. Don't have you put yourself on mute by any chance?
I haven't, no.
Oh, there you go, you're back.
Yeah. So if you could just confirm that you can see my screen again.
Yeah, all good.
All good. Brilliant stuff. So changing the no mindset, once you have that higher purpose, and we heard from Alex, and it was just for me, everything that I speak to hundreds of people in a year about making that decision to go self-employed, and in particular in our case to become part of the property experts and an estate agent. And it's amazing, whether it's complacency, whether it's comfort, whether it's fear, safety, but all those doubts. One of the things that you can do also, and that starts to happen when, and it's interesting, I had a conversation with Alex off camera about that company car, is that when you have that higher purpose, when you decide that actually it means something more to you, the reason you've got to change, and you start to look at all the challenges in your way, quite quickly challenges turn into opportunities. And interestingly, once he'd got over the fact of having to provide his car, all of a sudden the opportunity of, well, what car? And what car can I drive? And my goodness, I've now got choice. I don't have to have a sign written car, and what I've always wanted. And it's just little things like that that all of a sudden, when you reframe your mindset, because you have a deeper purpose to achieve change, all of a sudden your challenges start to look like opportunities. And it's called reframing. And if you want to learn more about that, have a look at what Tony Robbins does about how to reframe those challenges and look at them as opportunities. Psychology says when you focus on problems, you will have more problems. When you focus on possibilities, you will have more opportunities. So first, we've discovered then that changing and having that deeper purpose, finding your why. The second thing is, and I'm going to sneeze in a moment, excuse me, the second phase of a three-step process is your how. First of all, your why. Now we're going to look at your how, and it's all about planning. And you heard Alex talk about in that video about the planning that he did. He looked at his budgeting, he looked at the cars, he looked at his life, he looked at his finances, he looked at all the income. But then he started to actually look at all of those things and break them down into bite-sized chunks. Planning lays the foundation for success. Planning empowers us with a clear direction to visualize your goals, both short and long term. Think about an example in your own life now where you've wanted to do something that maybe was outside of your comfort zone, and planning the process, planning how you were going to get there, whether it was a trip or a journey or buying a new car that you didn't think you were going to be able to do. The minute your mindset changes to a yes, the planning takes place of how then do we achieve this. You develop a roadmap to achieve them. You break your goals down into really small achievable tasks and set yourself clear deadlines. Visualization helps us vividly imagine achieving our goals and our desired outcome. This strengthens our belief in our capabilities and reinforces a yes mindset. Picturing yourself driving that new car, going to that destination, achieving that fitness or health goal, visualizing it and feeling it really strengthens your belief in your capabilities. Then overlaid with that planning of how you do it and creating that mindset really now starts to reinforce this yes mindset. Planning is the key to turning our no into an unwavering yes. So many people fail and give up with their goals and dreams because it's not planned. You cannot just go from changing a no into a yes and visualizing what you want and hope you'll get there. There's a whole planning in between. Invest your time in the planning and effort in acquiring new knowledge, honing skills, and developing those into your yes mindset, because you now believe you have the know-how and the ability to actually perform and do what it is that you want to change. If you were setting a goal of climbing a rock climbing face, once you'd made that decision, overcame your fears, then part of the planning would be all the equipment, the place, etc., but then learning and training the skill of that challenge. Build resilience. So many people give up. Face challenges head on, turn obstacles into opportunities. If the first time something doesn't go right, and if you view failure the wrong way, you will give up. Creating and embracing a mindset absolutely is imperative, that you view failure as a learning experience. And this has to then fuel your determination to go back to your plan. Look at your roadblock, look at your intermediate goals, look at the acquired knowledge and skills, and then set yourself a new aim to achieve. And those little achievements will really reiterate your yes mindset, always having in the back of your mind that deeper meaning. The third process then is in our step of changing a no mindset into a yes, is then deciding your what. Now, a lot of people think about themselves in their what. What do I want to do? What makes me happy? What job do I want to do? What car do I want to drive? What do I want to achieve? What do I want to look like? What will make me happy? It's really important with deciding about your business, and any business, is that the what has to be about how you can impact others. If you do your what around your own personal gain, it's likely that you'll never succeed fully. Where you create a what around what you want to do, that you can use your own skills and your experiences and your characteristics and your passion and your drive to impact others' lives, then you start to have a real what in your three-step process. Interesting, if you look at Lego, and we all have played with, most of us will have played with Lego when we were
Mostly
younger.
stepped on it.
Sorry, James.
Mostly stepped on it.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, we've all felt that pain, haven't we? However, if you look at Lego, their why is to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow. And everything they do to create their bricks and their structures is about inspiring and develop the builders of tomorrow. Their what is to provide children with the tools and experiences that encourage hands-on exploration, problem solving, and collaboration. Lego aims to educate and empower young minds in a fun and engaging way, preparing them for a brighter future. Now you realize that when a business like Lego, which is past the test of time, and it's still selling now as it was 40 years ago when it launched, it's because they have a why. It's not to make money or to beat all the other Lego brick manufacturers or to have the best logo. It's to inspire and develop builders of tomorrow. Volvo, here's another one. We all know Volvo cars. Volvo's why is centered completely and totally around safety and saving lives. Volvo's why, the heart of everything that it does, every design, everything and decision that company makes, is around saving lives. Does what we are doing save lives? And maybe you wouldn't have realized that a car manufacturer would have such a big why. But again, you look at Volvo, it's consistently passed the test of time, and it is still a identifiable car that is a safe car. Their what is to provide safe and reliable vehicles that prioritize the well-being of their drivers, passengers, and all road users. The company's commitment to safety and innovation and their vision to eliminate serious injuries and fatalities on the road is at the core of their identity and their business philosophy. So when you have a look at what, it's as important that you look at what do you want to do that can impact other people's lives. Volvo and Lego are your prime examples. At the Property Experts, our what is to give property experts, I think a slide's deleted here, and I'm really sorry about that. In the editing, it's deleted. The Property Experts why is to raise the standards of estate agency in the UK and to provide an environment for people to launch their business as a personal branded estate agency and achieve their goals and their successes. And when we have our passion and everything we do at the Property Experts, the whole why that Sean created this, why we work on it together, and everything we do internally is around raising the standards of estate agency by providing people an opportunity to create a personal branded business. Our what we do is we want to give our property experts training, coaching, mentoring and support and the tools to grow their personal brand and build their business, bringing the best in the industry together to be part of a community that helps and support each other and shares best practice. In a short while, I'll deliver a short training program that every single week, Thursday at 10 o'clock, we hold a training session. We've got a library of over 55 videos that are recorded, giving guidance, help and support. We're constantly looking and investing in technology, new tools, partner, affiliations, training, leaders, coaches, and everything we can to help people deliver that aim of our why, which is to raise the standards. What is your what? What do you want to really do to impact somebody's life? And how can you do that through a estate agency? We'll play part 2 now of Alex's videos, and he'll explain some of the support that we give to enable that what. My very slick assistant.
Not that slick.
We'll practice this way.
Right.
Okay.
Alex, welcome back, part 2. So we've turned our no into a yes and all the things that we've overcome. You've now got to make that ultimate decision of what you are going to do to fulfill your self-employed dream. And if you're going to join a network, do it yourself. You chose the Property Expert, so really interested to know how that journey came about, and then what your journey was like once you've made that decision, right up until leaving and the induction and going out to list your first property. Over to you, my friend.
Yeah, fine. So as I said, I looked at various different options. The self-employed model, it kept kind of reoccurring. One, because of the more traditional model is the financial side of it. The implications surrounding it are hefty, and I just think that having a
sorry, by traditional you mean the traditional method of self-employed, as in you go and rent some premises in a location, you fit it out, you then subscribe to all the portals and get your designs done, your marketing done. That's what you're talking about, is a hefty financial commitment.
Yeah, it's a hefty financial commitment, and you know what? I've always been used to that, so naturally that was the first option that I gravitated towards. And I was looking at various different things, whether it was kind of bank loans and repayments, whether it was investors and the equity that you're giving away, and you know what? They're all in terms of, you never walk away with 100% of anything, and in terms of those options, by and large, the financial outlay tends to be more. And so I looked into the self-employed model. I've got a few friends working as self-employed estate agents that swear by it, absolutely love it for various different reasons. And when I started engaging with property experts, I just found the kind of level of interest was there. The property experts, the thirst to become one of the, or if not the, the largest self-employed model is there, and therefore the investment in their experts is evident at every turn. And I just obviously before I said yes, you guys couldn't give all your little secrets away, but the little nuggets that you were giving me was just like, I've never heard this before. I've never heard people put things in certain ways, or the little teasers in terms of the systems that they had in place and they were investing in, or what they were looking into and potentially investing in, was stuff that's out of this world, and stuff that I didn't even know existed in 20 years of estate agency. So for me, the self-employed model was the one that worked for me. And in terms of the options out there, the property experts kind of won it by a long way. So yeah. I joined
One of our, and that's lovely to hear. And I've certainly enjoyed many conversations with you during that journey. And maybe I did inadvertently give you some teasers about what was coming. But, listen, we're continually and one of our sort of ethoses is we want to always make you fit for the future, not fit for the past. So we're always looking in that investment, etc. And there's two types of investment. One is obviously the tech, the systems, and the operation procedures, which you've now experienced, the marketing hub, and all of the products like Akaboom and Home Search that we have give you free access to. But then the other big thing, and the biggest thing for us, I guess, is the training and making you fit for purpose to be able to have the skills and the knowledge to operate. So what was, if you just explain and tell us about your experience then through the induction, and since then sort of what you've experienced in terms of the training and support that you get.
Yeah, so joined up, and induction is a week long, and I thought, okay, well, that's long, and it wasn't like a couple of hours a day. It was a full-on day. I think it was 9 to 4 or 10 to 4 or something like that. And I thought, well, I've been doing this job 20 years. I'm just, what am I gonna learn out of this? So I got my notebook, which a lovely property expert's notebook that came through the post. And do you know what? From half an hour into the first day of an induction, I was gripped. It was just so refreshing to hear just the different ways of putting things, the training and the videos and the coaching that was there. My notebook, I still haven't got round to actually writing it all up. It's that valuable that I want to write it all up while it's fresh in my head and create this little kind of almost like estate agency Bible. It was bits and pieces and phrases and words and advice I just never heard before, and I probably never would have heard before if I continued in the role that I was going. So do you know what, a week's worth of training, and I'd do it all again. I think it was absolutely fabulous, and it was then as well that really concretely confirmed to me and concreted the notion that these guys know what they're doing. They're really investing in us. And do you know what, I just could not wait to get started. Now I was still within my gardening leave, so I came to an end of this training and I was just like fizzing. I wanted to get out there, I wanted to start door knocking, I wanted to, I felt so motivated. And do you know what, it's a testament to the kind of the work and the time that you guys put into it. I think it was absolutely incredible.
No, that's fantastic.
And sorry, just go. Sorry, to interrupt there. Just going back to some of the systems there. So Akaboom, for example. I mean, it's slick. I mean, it is so cool. The door knocking. I've never done door knocking before. And I did it a few weeks back, and I've created a spreadsheet of the properties that I'm going to go after, and I knocked on. I found it a little bit difficult, not through confidence, You know, I was a kid at 7 years old on the strip of Albufeira doing karaoke with parents. So from a confidence perspective, I'm absolutely fine in that sense. But it was just whenever I knocked on the door, no one was in. So I had to go out late at night. But I had a few late appointments. And I thought, well, I'm in my shirt, I'm in my chinos. I'm actually going to go and knock on a few doors. I knocked on 5 doors. 2 didn't answer. The 3 that answered, one of them's already heard of me and he's going to give you, he's giving his agent notice. He's going to give me a call back in about 2 to 3 weeks. And the other 2 said, thank you very much, closed the door and called me back within 24 and 48 hours. I've got one of them on the, I've got both of them on the market. So incredible advice and coaching. So yeah, really pleased.
Wonderful, mate. Lovely. Great to know that once you've made that decision and made that decision, particularly join the property experts, which we love having you on board, you're an absolute star. And in part 3, we'll talk about the success that you've had leading on from little things like what you've implemented from the training with the systems and processes, and we'll have a quick talk around that. See you in part 3.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much in there with Alex, and you know, we tried to condense that conversation into about 8 minutes, which is what we achieved. But off camera, we're just talking about so many things as well. And one of the big things that Alex talked about was in the village where he mainly operates, it's his face and his name that is starting to go up on boards and started to be recognized. And with that came a really overwhelming sense that actually his real purpose was to provide his local community with brilliant estate agency. And he knew that when he used to be employed from his old estate agency, he'd do a lot of the work, he'd then go and pass it on to somebody else, and he never quite 100% guaranteed that that client would have a great experience from beginning to end. And he just felt an amazing sense of fulfillment now that is what his destiny is providing that service from beginning to end. So, you know, he's found he's found what he wants to do. So carrying on then with the training session, I think what's coming up next from memory, can you see that, mate?
Yeah.
Okay, so just something that I keep fairly close to me on my phone. And this is just really just a little visual to help you really remember your embracing your mindset. It's really, really shortcut to, or a really quick way of remembering that possibilities and a yes mindset are really close. If you just cross out the im, and on all those words, they go from a negative and no mindset into a yes mindset, and they go from creating blockages and limitations on your life to unfound capabilities. And that's impossible becomes possible, unable becomes able, unsolved becomes solvable, undoable becomes doable. And that's all part of the process of going through finding your why, learning and planning your how, and then understanding your what is really, really important. And that mindset will change your life. Okay, so I promised you that I would deliver you, regardless of whether you are thinking of becoming self-employed or not, if you're an estate agent, if you're in any business whatsoever, although this is really focused at helping people in estate agency. And this is, in today's market, mastering that thing where we have a lot of clients at the moment that are more inclined to go with a no with our advice because of uncertainty of high bills, the marketplace, whether they will sell, accept an offer, the price they come to market based on last year, the rising mortgage rates, rising cost of living, etc., etc. And this is a quick session, 15 minutes, that we've delivered to our property experts, which impacted and had results for them. 4 easy steps to win, turning a no into a yes. Step 1, the planning. Whether it's to win, the planning, whether it's to win a market appraisal from a door knock, or convince a seller to take your marketing price advice, we all find from time to time clients say no. Whether it's to pay your fee, they all find that clients say no. How do we turn those no's into a yes? Let's have a look. First of all, we have to understand that there's different perspectives. The client's perspective is, why are you telling me to do something different when it's not my idea and I can't yet see how it benefits me? Ours is, I'm telling you to do something different because I know what's best for you and it will benefit you. Different perspectives, both correct. How do we solve the problem of turning a no into a yes? From an early age, we learn to question others' decisions, even at an early age, to get us to do things we didn't want to do. Our parents use tactics like bribery or negative consequence, punishment, or authority, force and tell. So these tactics generally don't work on clients because we've built defense mechanisms against them. So where if you finding things like bribery or negative consequence or authority coming into your conversations with clients, it's not going to work. So how do we turn that no into a yes? What we do know that works is 4 steps. Step number 1, listen. People like to be listened to. Use great questions to establish things like their timescales, like open questions: who, what, why, when, how, where, and use silence. Let people talk. We're mostly born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's a good reminder to use them in that proportion. But step 1 of turning a no from a client into a yes is listen. Listen to their situation. What impact financial? You may be asking them to adjust their marketing price by a mere £10,000 in your words. But listen and understand and ask how it impacts them, where it will make their decision to move to, as opposed to if they sold at a higher price. What impact will it have over the long term if they don't take your advice? Listen to them. Second, once you've listened, understand. When you've listened to understand, not listen to hear. People like to be understood. Use empathy. Knowing the difference between empathy and sympathy is really important. So if a client says to you, oh, I can't adjust my marketing price because, listen, I just won't have enough money to provide my family with what they need in schooling or education or holidays or whatever. Sympathy is going, oh, I'm really sad about that. Yeah, I know how that feels. I felt the same, it's really, really hard. And yeah, I feel really sad for you. That's sympathy. Empathy is understanding them, but realizing that you've actually got a solution to help them avoid that problem or to get over that problem. So sympathy is seeing a person in a hole and getting in there with them. Empathy is understanding they're in the hole and how they feel, but helping them by staying out and helping them out. You have the expertise, you have the necessary skills, you have the knowledge that you've built up to help clients impact their things like their timescales, their financial consequences, and their emotional consequences. Understand the impact of what you're doing for that client and how it can benefit them related to their circumstance. So, number 1, listen. Second, understand. Really understand what impact it has on the advice that you're about to give. Secondly is explain. This doesn't say lecture, tell, or dictate, or bully, or enforce, or overtalk, or just talk at the client with lots of features. It says explain. People like to be explained to. Use facts, not fiction. Use other people's testimonies, stories, successes other people have had. show stats, data, graphs, numbers. Get your information. Act as a property expert, armed with the right information and the right stories and testimonies that demonstrate to that client the advice you're going to give them is one from a position of great expertise, and then they will start to trust you. So know your facts. Don't make up stories. Don't make up fiction. Don't make up statistics. Don't make up stories. Use testimonies. If you haven't got any yourself, use the colleagues. On All Agents, we are one of the best rated, positively rated estate agencies. Go and have a look at some of the testimonies that our agents get, and they will tell you the ethos of the property expert. Explain the consequences. Explain consequences both positively and negatively. Just because you're explaining negative consequence doesn't mean you are being negative. It is just purely a consequence. Look at the benefits, but look at the consequences. And most things relate to time or money. If they don't adjust their price or take your marketing price advice, it's likely going to impact their time to sell or the eventual money they will sell for. So look at the consequences and explain their course of action against each of those things relative to time or money, and keep it balanced. Don't take the decision out of their hands. Remember, at an early age, we've built up defense mechanisms to react to being told what to do. So once we've listened, really listened, and used great questions, once we've established what their situation is and what their aims and goals are, once we've understood and the emotional and financial impacts around that decision, then we've explained now clearly the consequences. The last stage is to guide. It's their choice to decide the way forward. People like to make their own decisions. And when a person is ready to make a decision, they do best through choice, alternatives. So once you've listened to their scenario, you've understood their impact financially, emotional, with their children, their jobs, their move, their emigration, their retirement plans. And once you've really emotionally connected and understood that, it's time to explain with your expertise consequences of potential action. And now it's time to guide them to a choice by talking to them an alternatives. They could either do something or nothing. They could do this or they could do that. They could adjust their marketing price by 10,000 or by 20,000. And here's the choice and the consequences that you will have. Doing something different is easier broken down into smaller, into smaller steps. Yeah. So don't overwhelm them with a big choice. We've either got to massively reduce your price or we take it off the market. That's too big a choice for them to make. Break your choices down. Your job is to guide them through a choice scenario to make their decision, not yours. So what we also know that clients generally need as well, that they're going to be supported. So after you've done the 4 steps that turns a no into a yes, it's about ongoing support. People like to know once they've made a decision that they're going to be supported in that decision. So it's really important once they've made a choice that you overlay the actions you are now going to take as their expert to help them implement the decision you've made. You haven't won when they've made a choice. That's not winning by turning a no into a yes. You've won when you've achieved your higher purpose of why you help people sell property. So overlay your actions. Now you've made your decision, Mr., Miss, Ms. This is what I will now do to enable that to take place. Finally, narrow your explanation down into clear choice of actions. Ensure your advice is a map with directions of each step. We like solutions, not problem. So when you're overlaying all the actions you're taking, don't make them into problems. Yeah. Your job is to provide actions and solutions and show them a map of how you're going to implement it. So fine, we're going to adjust your marketing price. What I'm now going to do is adjust that on the portals. I'm going to also look at our marketing strategy and employ my 2-week marketing strategy that we employed the first time towards the open house. And we're going to now do exactly the same as what we did before, which is to identify all of the potential buyers of properties on the market and write to them and invite them to the open house. We're going to let all your neighbours know into the open house, and we're going to re-advertise it and boost it through social media with the adjusted price. That's what I'm going to do for you. That's what the roadmap looks like. And encourage them with energy and enthusiasm. What they want to know is now they've made a decision through their choice because you've guided them, you've understood, you've listened to them. Because you've been through that process, they now want to see your energy and enthusiasm. And now you have a resounding no in a resounding yes from a customer, client, and a relationship which is strengthened, not fractious, because you've tried to bully, cajole, or oversell a no into a yes. So in summary then, when you're faced with any client that says no, listen, understand, explain, and your job is a guide. And then your process is to support and encourage their decision. Fantastic. So I hope you enjoyed that 15-minute training session, and I hope that that gives you some thought to go away and impact your business in this marketplace that creates you wealth and in turn adds value to your health, your work-life balance, etc. James, if you can play the final part 3 of Alex's video.
Also, mine.
Okay, part 3. Welcome back, Alex Broadley, the property experts in Leicestershire. So we've heard about turning your no into a yes and all of the decision making over 20 years, it turns out, to actually make a decision. Then your decision to choose how you actually bring your self-employed business to life, and gladly you're with the property experts. And part 3 really then is, so having done all that, you're on day 1, you're launching your business, your garden leave's finished, and in your first month you've achieved something which I think is extraordinary, and that is that you've generated 14 market appraisals, brought to market 8 listings and sold 2 of them within your first month. That's something that we've not seen ever before, Alex, and really is a benchmark. Talk to us about your process of launching your business and that success.
So yeah, I'm always a firm believer anything that you should put out there should be as slick as it possibly can. Whether, and you know, and again, if, you know, we're paid to advertise and sell on properties. Again, if we can't advertise ourselves correctly, how on earth are we expected to advertise a client's home correctly? So, and I wanted my launch to be as big as possible. I had a little budget, a little marketing budget, and I just thought, well, how can I spend this wisely? I'm a firm believer of kind of traditional meets modern methods, so I did not want to do the flyering, because for me the flyering has brought tremendous results in the past. So I had flyers made. I created videographers through the property experts who do a lot of the fine and country work, and commissioned them to do a promo video of me, which was just awesome. The feedback I've had from that is absolutely incredible, and I've got a circle of friends that just take the mick at any opportunity. I mean, you could have a £500 haircut and they'll find an excuse to take the mick out of you. And you know what? The compliments I received back off this video from friends, family, clients, past and present, it's just been absolutely humbling, really. So what I also did as well is, you know, I did social media sponsored ads. And again, I didn't put a huge amount of money behind it. I don't think you necessarily need to. A lot of organic Facebook marketing as well. So you can put a post out there and you can share it through all the local community pages. But also the digital the marketing hub that you get through the property experts is absolutely incredible. You get so many templates there. You get everything from so again, I've never even heard of direct mail before, where you can literally pinpoint a demographic and just send it. You know, you don't have to sit there folding letters and putting them in envelopes and sticking stamps on it. It's all done for you. You know, you've got access to various different bits and pieces in terms of from touting material, and again, there's tips and hints as well when it comes to what actually you do put out there. So I created a little post for myself, and I sent it to all my friends and family, and I said, you know what, Saturday morning is going to be my launch day. Would everyone just put that on their social media? I'm not asking you to do much, just put it on your social media. And it was absolutely incredible. My phone just did not stop pinging all day. I think from a visibility perspective, people were sick of seeing me. pretty much, they're absolutely sick and tired of my face. But yeah. So I just had a huge launch campaign, and just sorry, what? I can't get the term of phrase out. Just went out, hit the ground running, and just pounded the pavement all day into the evening, knocking on doors. I didn't go after any previous stock of my old employees either. I think it was easy to kind of people to say, well, you hit the ground running because you've pinched a few bits and pieces. I haven't. I respect them. I like them. So I just went after new stock or the client stock, and yeah, I'm ecstatic with the way it's gone, if I'm going to be honest.
Fantastic. And the two sales that you've had, they've been both by how have they come about?
So what
quick in this market is an achievement in itself, but to do that in your first month of launching your business is exceptional. So how have they come about?
Yeah, so one of them got 10 grand over the asking price. Professional photography, paid for social media, kind of sponsored ads, a teaser video for the property, and in this instance, I had an open house plan for it, and it didn't even get that far. I had it planned for the Saturday, and I had people because I wanted to give them. Well, Saturday. It was about a week to 10 days on a Saturday, about a week to 10 days on from launch, and people were that desperate to view it. They're actually getting a little bit agitated. They didn't want to wait, so we just sent a few people round, and we negotiated £10,000 high if it never went to open day, where the clients were absolutely ecstatic. It was 10,000 more than they were initially hoping, and the reason why I wanted to say it was 10,000 over, because for me, when I hit, I thought, oh God, what timing is this? The interest rates are spiraling, and there's a lot of doom and gloom in the media. And I thought, well, this is 20 years in the making. I've chosen now to launch. I couldn't believe it. But they got 10,000 over. The other property was a lot more expensive than that one. Now that did have an open day. Again, it had a professional imagery, it had a video, it had some drone footage, and I had an open day for Friday evening, and we negotiated full asking price there and then in the driveway with one of the clients. So again, for the right property that's marketed well, in the right area, priced correctly, things are still moving.
Fantastic. It sounds very much like the biggest thing, and one of the biggest things you've sort of changed your mindset around from being a traditional agent employed to now is the emphasis on how important all aspects of you being a marketing expert now, how important that really is to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no brand to hide behind in a sense. You know, there's no kind of faceless brand to hide about it. It is me. So everything that I put out there, it's got to be consistent. It's got to be consistent with the kind of branding that the property experts have got, and the high caliber of branding there. You know, you want it to kind of marry up and mirror one another. But also it's you know, whatever you're putting out there, you don't want, you know, you put anything less than excellent out there, it's almost like, you know, you're not excellent yourself. So that basically mirrors me, and I've got a high standard when it comes to that kind of thing. I think I've got quite a keen eye. But even if you haven't engaged with photographers, engaged with videographers, because these guys are the experts. You know, you just give them the address and they go out there and create wonders. And it's just, and that's what you want. You want your listing to be consistent. You don't want 50%. I know it's not always as easy as that, but you don't want 50% to have professional images and the other 50% being taken with an iPhone, because you haven't got that brand consistency there. But yeah, and again, what I found as well, and I've always gone out there and took the photos myself, traditionally and historically, and I've always worried about, you know, clients being actually paying for anything up front, because it's always no sell, no fee, no sell, no fee. It's kind of drilled into you. And I've learned that, what the difference is, you know, what your professional fee is. You know, your fee shouldn't necessarily include everything. This is for your skill set, your expertise, you know, your level of experience and what you can do in order to create kind of maximum exposure and value for your clients. The marketing side of things, okay, it's because of the contribution from the agent, but actually asking the client to contribute themselves was a big no-no for me. But the moment I started doing it, the more they just, more than happy to do so. I mean, I know there's a lot of estate agents within the network that charge quite a bit more than what I do up front. But again, the reason why I'm saying this is because, you know, to get professional images and videos, you don't have to either spend a fortune or ask the client to spend a fortune. It can actually be quite manageable in that sense.
Wonderful. Alex, it's been an absolute joy listening to your journey from. Go on, you've got something else to say, my friend.
Yeah, just want to say one more thing, and it's a wonderful an analogy that my mum actually said. I think it was last week, and she said, "Be the local Bobby." Not in a sense of go out and solve crimes, but be the local Bobby. Years ago, when you had the local Bobby walking his beat around the village or town, everyone knew him or her, or thought that they knew him, which is the biggest thing. You know, he was instantly recognisable. Now, if they didn't walk their beat around the village or town and just sat behind their desk at the police station, no one would have any clue who they are. The kind of result would be so much different. So she said, be the local Bobby, be visible, whether that's on social media, whether that's in your local area, on the local community groups, having a coffee in the local deli, or having a drink or meal in the pub. Be visible, be the local Bobby. And I thought that's quite a nice way of putting it.
That's amazing. My brain now is drifting off into a training session on how do we create and give training to be that skill set, to be that local Bobby. But the essence of it, you're right, it all comes back to that pinnacle of be known. And one of the things that we consistently say with our training that we deliver is if you're not seen, you'll never be chosen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to be seen. You know, having the best product and being the best agent and having the best marketing, but nobody knowing about it, is almost useless. In fact, it's a travesty. Actually, we have got, and you do build as personal branded businesses, the best local product. You have to be visible. So, well, thank you, your mum, for that sound advice. Thank you very much for your time, Alex. And just these 3-part snapshots of making that journey, how you choose to launch your self-employed business, and the success you've had and how you've had it, has been an absolute insight. I'm sure will help many people. Thank you, my friend.
You might want to know as well, just one last thing from me. We are it was the 5th it was the 5th of the month on Saturday, and the 5th of August on Saturday, and I had my 5th contract signed for the month. So that's 5 more properties I've just brought to market this month.
In your second month?
In the second month, yeah. And I've got a few contracts outstanding as well. So I'm quite happy with that.
Wow, what a finish. Superstar, absolute legend in the making. And it's lovely to know, most importantly, that in due course, your goals and dreams that you started of creating that environment for your potential family in the house of your choosing, in the lifestyle of your choosing, all of a sudden starts to look far more real.
Absolutely, and I touched upon earlier on I had flexibility with my previous the company I worked for previously. What I've got now is completely different level. You know, it's liberating. It's great. Yeah, and that's it. It's just fabulous.
You could talk. I could talk to you for hours, but we have to keep it confined. Listen, if you've watched this video and you haven't seen part 2 and part 1, you need to go back and see them. If you're watched part 1 and part 2, and then you are finishing right here, right now, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for Alex for being part of the Property Experts, and thank you for giving us his time. I hope it's helped you. Any questions, any information you want, reach out to Alex, reach out to me, reach out to the Property Experts, and we'll answer any questions and give you any support you want. Thanks, Alex.
No problem. Cheers.
He loves it, doesn't he?
Mate, I could have talked to him off camera in between. I mean, I think that was a total of something like just over half an hour's worth of recording. But off camera, we most probably spoke for about 50 minutes on top of that. But what he says is right. You know, listen, if anything that was a validation to what I've tried to help people with tonight is that first thing is that personal mindset, turning that no into a yes. And when you start to do that through that process, all of a sudden problems become possibilities and opportunities, challenges become opportunities, and it becomes a really exciting life that you can lead. Okay.
Cool. So
I'm conscious that we've run over our time.
So do you want to do some quick questions and answers? Are you all finished up, Jim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So I've had one through saying one of my biggest fears is to stump up marketing costs versus vendor contributing to this expense. It's not much of a question, but I think it's something that from when I've come into the business and looked at it, it's something that I never heard of, and I was an estate agent for a long time. And I think that people's minds are blown, the fact that you can charge an upfront marketing contribution towards that, as well as put up something yourself. I think it's quite shocking. And it's not something that agents do very often, but it does take a lot of training to make sure that that is pitched and delivered in the correct way.
Yeah, you say it's not done very often, but listen, you know, over 16 years ago, I initiated in a corporate estate agency a charge up front to a client, and we made a decision that we were going to ask a client for £100 up front for every property that was listed, and that's what we did. We just went out. There was no reason behind it. There was no rationale. We just changed our mindset and went out one day and said, Mr. and Mrs. Smith or whatever, the way we charge our fee is £100 contribution up front, and the balance you don't pay until we've got your success. I can still remember the script now, mate, because it was so easy. In today's, if you look in today and becoming a marketing expert right here, right now, when you start to explain the capabilities to clients, remember the 4-step process. First of all, you've got to listen to them, understand them, yeah, and then you've got to explain the options they've got and then guide them to make the decision. If you listen to what they need to achieve in timescales and money, your expertise should understand and start to explain to them that actually paid advertising on social media, using social media, the power of videography, the power of coming soon videos, power of sneak peek videos, the power of digital and physical marketing material to spread the word of their property, are all processes that we teach on our induction. Actually, that is a massive change from any other thing that they would have ever been told before. And then it's a case of getting them to guide through the decision of how much they want to invest in their property marketing and what part of it they take responsibility and what part you take responsibility. So if you break it down and follow our process of turning a no into a yes, it actually becomes a really nice, engaged conversation. If you try and walk in and flog it to them like you're trying to sell snow to Eskimos, it ain't going to work.
Yeah, very, very true. Someone's asked, can they get a copy of your prospectus and book in a call? So guys, you'll get a follow-up email tomorrow, which will have a link to our diaries where you can book in for a discovery call and have a chat with us, find out some more about it with a copy of the prospectus so you guys can learn more about the model and really just decide whether it's for you or not. You know, I think that for the people that are considering it, you need to explore your options. You need to see what's out there. But most importantly, take the first step. It's the first step that scares everyone. They're worried if they go for a call that we're going to non-stop call. No, it's your decision. It has to be right for you. All we're here to do is inform you, give you the best information possible. And these are why we're going to try and hold these a bit more regularly to be able to give you guys some free content, raise them standards like Jim said, but also make sure that we're making sure that the right people are in touch and they can be nurtured through. So I think that's a bit about it for questions though, which is great. I was answering them as we went through, so it wasn't too bad. Brilliant. Well, look, apologies for running over, guys. I hope you found it useful. Jim, thank you very much for running the session. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you guys need anything else, just give us a shout. I'll drop my number within the email body tomorrow for you. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I'll catch up with everyone hopefully soon. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.